The next match we have is for the tag team
The
championship titles.
Nasty Boys.
Yeah, making the WrestleMania debut, the Nasty Boys, Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs with Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart
Mm-hmm.
versus
With
the
a
Hart
helmet for some
Foundation.
reason.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I know.
he needs to sell that.
They're
He's
bikers, maybe. Or
yeah,
something. I
he's
don't know.
in there with the bikers and he's ready to get in that little sidecar that one of them might have for him.
Yes, that would be funny to see.
Yeah, and then we have the Hart Foundation, Brett and Jim the Anvil Neidhart still
Right.
going
Last
strong
WrestleMania
together.
for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and well, this is their 5th WrestleMania in a row as a tag team. I think 5 years as a tag team is more than enough, unless you're going to be one of those career tag teams, which we saw a lot in the 80s where none of them were able to break out. And if they did try to break them out, they both ended up sucking. So you got to bring them back together and do, keep the money coming in as them as a tag team. So
Okay.
this match goes 12 minutes and 10 seconds.
Longer match.
It is a longer match here for you. There's a lot of double teaming and a lot of ref distractions. There is I guess this is pretty much highlighting Brett breaking out as a solo star because Brett gets like a little bit of a moment where he pulls off his trademark moves that we see later on. He pulls off his side Russian leg sweep, but they call it a neck breaker. Gorilla points out here.
A neck breaker.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he just pulled off a neck breaker, and then I'm like, I think this ends up being that side Russian leg sweep, but we'll go on and move on from there and not pick on Gorilla too much.
I will say I do like some of Gorilla's commentary.
Yeah, yeah, he was a great what is that called? Technical or play-by-play announcer. Yeah, there you go. He's I think the only one that is I think is kind of like if we're going with WWE, we would have to say Michael Cole has grown. I mean, he's only been doing that for like 20 plus years. Okay. So, but he's kind of like a good enough, but like he does have his moments, but also Gorilla has his moments too, where you kind of could pick on him. Excalibur.
I don't think they had Vince screaming at them most of the show in this day and age.
Yeah,
Michael Cole has had for a majority of his career.
Yeah,
I think that's a big difference.
Yeah, because Vince gets. I think that's the beginning of when he starts losing to WCW, where he feels like I need to take over. Nobody knows what they're doing. This is how I want the story told. This is how I want this guy to be promoted as, and blah blah blah. And Vince is, that's why they wear the headset, and Vince is always in their ear.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of sounds painful. Nobody likes a micromanager in wrestling or in real life.
No one likes to hear Vince's voice either, though.
No one likes to hear voices in their head either. No.
Things also start to go south after the steroids trial when he can't start to pump these guys full of all this stuff that the Bulldog and Warlord are on. And that's why you see the Bretts and the Shawn Michaelses and the smaller, quicker, more athletic guys starting to rise to prominence.
Yeah, which is funny because
and the Warriors and other people.
Brett gets Shawn gets kind of big. So are we not to believe that he didn't have any type of performance?
I'm not saying he didn't, but he wasn't.
Well, I'm glad that Doyle said that because I've never connected. I've never put those two correlations together. You have these big guys, and now they're leaner, and that's the reason.
Yeah,
goes to jail. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then Hulk Hogan testifies against Vince, and that leads to a path where Vince doesn't really like Hulk Hogan, and leads to his departure.
I like that one of them was like, "You think you're gonna crack the foundation, like the Hart?"
Oh yeah, the little interview that they had, to with Mean Gene to pump and to sell the match more, and the little event that they're having in there.
foreign objects must have been much more dense in the past because
they were American made, Doyle.
They seem to do so much more damage than they do now.
Mm-hmm.
One hit with a helmet and it's But looking back at this now, I always want why that I understand why they needed to get the titles off of the Hart Foundation.
Yes.
Anvil is supposed to leave. He ends up not leaving, but Bret obviously needs to go off and be Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
But the Nasties have just come in. They've only been there a couple months. The more logical, knowing what I know now, more logical choice would have been the Rockers. Because a couple months before this, the Rockers actually beat the Hart Foundation for the titles. But it's a 2 out of 3 falls match. It was supposed to be for Saturday night's main event, but the top rope breaks after the first fall, and then if you can go back and watch it, and there's no commentary. It's very interesting. You can hear them talking to each other, like, what the fuck, the rope, like, what the fuck are we gonna do? They're in a headlock forever, and so they end up just not ever showing it on TV. They never acknowledge it.
Wow.
So the Rockers actually defended the titles a couple times. They beat Power and Glory on a house show, I think. But the whole thing gets reversed. Anvil doesn't end up leaving. And of course, they lose the titles here to the Nasty Boys, which just doesn't make a lot of sense. When you've seen one Nasty Boys match, you've seen them all. They do. I mean, they do.
It's mostly
Do I even need to ask you who you're rooting for?
I think we all know that Doyle was a Hart Foundation fan on this one.
I think so.
As probably for you, you were probably a Hart Foundation fan.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Hart Foundation, and I'm a fan of, at this time, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Yeah, but I don't think he has the Hitman moniker right now. I think he's still Bret Hart. Does it?
I think he had it in the Battle Royal.
Okay.
Did you see that span to like a young Macaulay Culkin?
Oh yes.
I think
you should mention him because he's the first person I have met.
What? So that's one.
There's one.
Was Mila Kunis with him at the time?
No. This was probably about, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. I was working at this bar, and we had this upstairs that we didn't really do anything with. And next door was this pretty small little music venue. And occasionally we had like a deal with them that sometimes send bands over. They didn't have like a green room or whatever. They would sometimes use our upstairs as like a green room, if you will.
Okay.
And so, my boss tells me, we're doing that. They're going to use the upstairs tonight. I go, yeah, sure. What's it for? They go, some band called Pizza something or other. And I go, all right, great. Well, fucking here comes Macaulay Culkin. I wish I'd had the gumption to ask. I would have asked him about WrestleMania 7. I told
him, hey, in the future, I'm going to be in a podcast.
Macaulay actually makes another appearance at I want to say 23 or 25.
Yeah, he has I think 2 more. And then he hosts
the crowd again.
Doesn't he host the Monday Night Raw or
he might have? Yeah. He's a nice enough kid. I mean, I didn't really spend a whole lot of time with him, or it was mostly I never saw a crowd for a show at that little music venue though, like there was for that one.
Wow,
there were like hundreds of people outside.
Any of his music? Have you heard?
No, I didn't even know he had a band.
I don't think they're around anymore.
Yeah, it probably would have been at the height of his popularity.
Yeah, they're
going into his
something about pizza.
Yeah. I tried to say if it was Pizza Slut, but it was not.
It was like the pizza experience or something.
I'm curious. I guess we'll find out what your pizza is
was it cheese pizza?
They did not have any pizza that I saw. Maybe they threw it at the crowd or the crowd threw it at them. I don't know.
Yeah. So this was actually one of my favorite matches.
Okay.
Just based on this has a lot of heel psychology at work here. Besides the double teams, but the distractions, making the build up for the baby face, either Bret or Jim, to get that hot tag, but also kind of work for it. And as a child or maybe as someone who's really buying into the whole story that they're feeding you, it kind of oh, he had the tag, he almost got there. oh, why did Brett come in? He tagged him, but now the ref didn't see it, so he's distracted. And then
it's a shame that they're so far away from tag team wrestling in the modern era. Because if two dipshits like the Nasty Boys can pull it off,
right,
anybody can pull it off. You know, like it shouldn't be this hard to book competent tag team wrestling in 2023. But
yeah, I mean, like who was booking like the tag teams before? Because before, like, they made this work.
Yeah,
it made the Nasty Boys look like someone very formidable, and even though they cheated, quote unquote, to get the titles,
right?
Not only because they do get the heart attack put on Knobs, but this is one of the questionable things about the ref. The ref, for some reason, actually decides to enforce that Brett's in the ring. He hasn't done it all the other times, but he's like, "Hey, I can't count this because you're in the ring. You need to get out."
Questionable refereeing will definitely be a theme of this program.
Yeah. So Sags gets the megaphone, hits Brett, hits Jim, and then Knobs rolls over for the 1-2-3 pinning win, and we have new tag team champions.
I thought the Nasty Boys really were working the ring though. So I mean, but that's from my perspective, just watching it, me being kind of new to wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we're here for. We're here for your perspective. We're here to give people who decide to get into wrestling late and give them some recommendations on some of these WrestleManias to see if there's anything that they can add to their watching portfolio and getting some knowledge and experience.
Yeah, for a minute.
How good Jimmy Hart was. I guess because he was in the same time as the Brain, who I just idolized. But man, he was really good. He was always in the right spot, always in the right spots. He was
you don't see that now with any of the valets or the managers.
No, the managers like managed. You know, like a couple of these matches, the heel will go out and talk to the manager, and the manager will like give them advice and stuff.
Right.
We kind of have valets still, but we don't really have any managers.
But even Sherry did a great job and distracting like when she was with Macho at the time, distracting, and she does later on too, but it's more of a like after match type of thing. But distracting the ref when it needs to happen and getting involved when it's supposed to. I think the only one that I've seen recently to probably have success in doing that right now is Rhea.
Okay.
Ripley. She does manage to like find her spots and
but she's involved. A wrestler though,
but it's still like when she there's still wrestlers that you see that go out there to be part of the party to lead them into the ring, and it's like sometimes they don't know when to get involved or really don't add anything else to the match, and you're like, why did you come to the ring along with this person if you're not going to do anything?
So Jimmy Hart is going to be doing an appearance. Jimmy Hart and Marty Jannetty actually at the same time down the street from me next Friday.
What? That's awesome.
But I don't know if I want to spend $50 to meet Jimmy Hart and Marty Jannetty.
Okay.
No. Wow.
I would spend it for Jimmy Hart, but not for Marty.
So
I'd feel weird going, no, Marty, I don't need to meet you. I just
were you happy with the win?
Yeah, I told you this is my favorite match. Okay. Just because of the whole psychology, and they did what they needed to do. They got the belts off the Hart Foundation because it's Brett's time to shine, and you saw it in a little bit where he actually gets like his own little time to show off his moveset, and pretty much try to cement himself away from Jim.
Right. I thought Anvil did a great job. He wrecked him.
Yeah, and the Anvil does what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be like the muscle of the tag team.
Right.
And that's what he's supposed to be. He does what he's supposed to do.
He was great. He was great too. He was just another one of those guys that couldn't get out of his own way. He let some of the substance issues get to him. Shall we say?
I thought we were seeing the foundation being laid for a championship. It felt like those moves were concrete. I would definitely recommend, if you are listening or watching, that you rewatch this match.
So this is your second favorite match
too for me. Okay. Yes.
All right.
All right.